Hello, folks. Todd Halleck here, talking to you today about estate planning. I want to talk to you a little bit about the perils of planning to avoid probate through the use of beneficiary designations. So, a beneficiary designation is a contractual opportunity that you have on certain assets to identify the persons, or maybe a trust or an entity who will receive that asset after you pass away. This is contractual with whoever you're dealing with on that asset, and therefore it doesn't need to go through probate to go to that person. Some common assets with beneficiary designations would be a bank account, an investment account such as a retirement account, 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, or even a non-retirement account, investment account, life insurance policies. All of these allow for beneficiary designations. In some states, even a couple of the states I'm licensed in, Arizona and Utah, you can even put a beneficiary designation on real property, land, real estate, your house, for example. And these will, generally speaking, if you've done it right, avoid probate without the cost and expense of having a trust in place. But there's some things that you should be aware of if you've planned entirely with beneficiary designations. One thing is making sure you've coordinated those beneficiary designations with your overall wishes in your planning for assets that maybe can't pass by way of beneficiary designations. A beneficiary designation will almost always control over anything in your will or your trust. So if you say the beneficiary is X person on the beneficiary designation, but in your trust or your will, you say, I want this asset to go to Y person, your beneficiary designation will almost always control over that. Another issue that we run into with beneficiary designation planning is that money goes out and directly to individuals and not through your estate or through your trust. And so it's unavailable to pay any expenses that you have when you pass away. This might cause a shortfall of liquidity that doesn't allow us to have assets to pay your bills, medical bills, income tax obligations, you name it, whatever you might have, funeral bills. We don't have money to do it. And so we're going back out to these people hoping they'll recontribute it to the estate, if you will, so that those bills can be paid. But that may happen on an uneven basis. Some people may not be able to recontribute or not willing to recontribute. And so that can get a little bit dicey. Does it leave us with an illiquid situation with paying final expenses and other bills that you may have upon your passing? And then one special note about real estate and beneficiary designations is when you have a beneficiary on your real estate, on your land, ownership automatically transfers to those individuals upon your death and upon the recording of an affidavit of some sort, usually with your death certificate. This was simple, this was easy, but now nobody is really in charge of making decisions. And if you've got two, three, four people, maybe more, who have ideas that aren't in line with each other, maybe someone thinks, well, maybe grandchild could live here while they're going to school, or we should rent this out, or we should sell it, or yeah, we should sell it, but not for that much, for more. All of a sudden, you have the potential for discord among your beneficiaries, your family members, maybe, and with nobody with the real right to kind of say, well, this is what we need to do, and this was their wishes. And so it is simple, it can be effective, but as with anything that's simple, sometimes it's got some perilous parts to it that you've got to be careful of. And so beneficiary designation planning is always an important part of an estate plan, but you need to do so thoughtfully, with purpose, with coordination, and with an idea of how our bill's going to be paid and how our decision's going to be made as it relates to that asset that's passing maybe to multiple beneficiaries. So I hope this has been helpful today. be sure you're getting that estate planning done, super important, and make sure you're getting it done with a qualified person who knows what they're doing and can help you walk through some of these tricky decisions. Take care.